Mr. President, yesterday I spoke about some of the process and the important issues of drug safety and making sure there's a good system for safer drugs, both in preparation and distribution. And I know we seem to be getting close to reaching a resolution, which is tremendous. I've heard many of my colleagues praise different parts of the bill, which I will do as well in a minute. But I want to just take one more minute again while the chairman and the ranking member on the floor to recognize what an enormous accomplishment their leadership has resulted in getting this bill to a close. And as I said yesterday, I think the work of the Help Committee, both Democrats and Republicans, with the leadership of the chairman and the ranking member, really is a model for this Congress. And it's the reason why the quality of this bill is so high. We've still got a few votes to go tomorrow, but people forget that it's rare to be working on a full extension of anything here. You know, this has become the land of flickering lights, where we keep things on for one more month or 2 more months. And here we actually have a 5-year extension of this legislation. It's wonderful to be working in such a bipartisan and businesslike fashion, and it is not lost on me about how much work has been put into the bill by my colleagues on the Help Committee, including the presiding officer or the Help Committee staff. So I just want to reiterate my thanks and gratitude to the work on the bill that will truly help patients and American families get the medical products they need when they need it. And which brings me, Mr. President, to the subject of medical devices. Colorado is the 6th largest medical device sector in the country, with over 600 bioscience companies overall. We obviously need to strike a balance as we think about this legislation, because as we speed the FDA to speed approvals, we've got to ensure that devices are safe. This year has represented a good faith bipartisan effort among members on and off the Help Committee to find policies that will empower the FDA to ensure safer devices and also ensure that our companies on the ground have more regulatory certainty and predictability. The FDA has been upfront about the challenges the device center faces: reviewer turnover, young, less experienced reviewers, and management challenges. At the same time, we've heard from venture capital investors that cite regulatory uncertainty at the FDA as a reason they've been hesitant about continued investments in the United States and have thought about future investment in Asia and Europe. The new medical device user fee will go a long way toward ensuring that the FDA has the resources to provide safer, more effective medical devices in less time and with more predictability. Over the course of a year, we were also able to craft a balance of policies on both the innovation and safety side. This includes reinforcing regulations in place since 1997 that require the FDA to take the least burdensome approach to approving medical devices by not asking companies for unnecessary or unrelated information. I see the senator from Minnesota on the floor, and I thank her for her leadership on that piece of legislation. It also includes important safety provisions, such as ensuring that medical devices have a tracking number assigned, so if there's any problem with them, doctors and patients can quickly know if their product is one that works. Now, Mr. President, I'd like to say a word about drug shortage, discussion issue that every member is hearing about in their states. And the FDA, in just the last year, was notified of about 220 drug shortages. We know that the amount of patients this affects is monumental. For cancer alone, over 550,000 patients have been currently affected by our national drug shortage crisis. In Colorado, I can tell you, our patients and providers are extremely frustrated. A pharmacist at St. Mary's Hospital in Grand Junction has said he keeps a 2-page list of 50 drugs that he can't get or can barely get a hold of, including 12 chemotherapy drugs. I just wanted to share a couple of constituent stories from my home state before I sit down. Don Gibbs from Longmont, Colorado, wrote, "Dear Senator Bennet, I am contacting you to inform you of my grave concern of the national shortage of the preservative-free cancer drug methotrexate." I'm sure I got that wrong, but for the record, we'll clean it up. "My 2-year-old cousin receives this drug for her newly diagnosed leukemia of October 2011. Her doctors have told her that that they have only a 2-week supply left at the clinic. This drug keeps her leukemia from traveling to her brain. This shortage is life-threatening to her and the 3,000 like her with this cancer. I thank you for your assistance in this matter. I know that my little 2-year-old cousin cannot speak out on her own behalf, so I'm honored to be her voice. I feel my voice will not be enough alone to make a difference, and hope that you will be our voice. So I can tell you tonight, Don Gibbs' voice is being heard on behalf of her cousin, just as patients all across the country are lending their voices to this important debate. Carol Gill from Morrison, Colorado wrote, "Dear Senator Bennet, I have stage 4 cancer. My current treatment regimen is doing a fine job of keeping the disease stable. This regimen includes a biweekly infusion of 2 generic drugs, 5-FU and leucovorin, and 2 other drugs still on patent. I received treatment at the University of Colorado Hospital. My oncologist has just called me to say that the University of Colorado Hospital is out of 5-FU. Today, oncologists at the University of Colorado Hospital are calling their patients to tell them some or all of their cancer treatment must be suspended. Thank you for taking this seriously and taking immediate steps to correct it." Carol Gill. My hope is that this Senate bill can give some reprieve to these Coloradans in desperate need of their life-saving drugs. The Senate bill would give the Food and Drug Administration the much-needed authority to require drug manufacturers report any discontinuance, interruption, or other adjustment that would likely result in a shortage, especially those drugs needed to provide emergency care. I'd also immediately create a task force that would develop a strategic plan to address drug shortages and submit recommendations to Congress, as well as study the effect on drug pricing as it relates to shortages. The people in my home state, in every one of our home states, needs us to provide solutions to these problems yesterday, Mr. President. They can't wait any longer, nor should they. And I will say again, it's because of the leadership of the 2 people sitting here, the ranking member of our committee and the chairman of our committee, that we've been able to get this bill to the floor for a vote. I think we should take that vote tomorrow and move forward on behalf of patients all across this country and the bioscience community. Thank you, Mr. President. With that, I yield the floor.
Mr. President.
Senator from Wyoming.
I just want to thank the senator from Colorado, Senator Bennet, for his comments, but he sold himself pretty short on the influence on this bill. He's worked dramatically on every portion of this bill and made some significant contributions that are now a part of the bill, so he didn't have to do amendments at this point because he got them all in before. And that was a very important across-the-aisle work that you did, working with a number of people on both sides of the aisle and being real faithful at having your committee at all the meetings, your staff members at all the committee meetings that were held on Fridays throughout the year. So this bill wouldn't have been possible without your efforts too, so we thank you.
Mr. President,
Senator from Iowa.
I just want to join Senator Enzi in thanking Senator Bennet for being a very valuable member of our committee, for all of the great work he did on this bill. His fingerprints are all over this bill, and it's a great bill, as he pointed out, great bipartisan support. I thank him for all of his work on our working groups, especially the drug supply chain. And this is a key part of this bill, where now FDA will have the authority and the wherewithal to go back up the chain to where these drugs come from. I think the senator was the first one to point out to me on the committee that about 80%, I think, of all of the ingredients that go into our drugs in this country come from outside this country. But we had no real idea on where, how they were doing, what, and so now we can insist on good manufacturing practices. So I would say this is a singular addition to this bill that can be traced right back to the senator from Colorado, and I thank him very much for his leadership on this issue and helping us get this bill to where we are today. I thank the senator.